Here are the most common mistakes to avoid when working with scaffolding. Mistake 1. Wrongly installing the base of the scaffold. Unstable ground or a poorly installed base can cause the scaffold to overturn or collapse. You must always make sure that the ground is level and compact. The uprights must be set on screw jacks with base plates, and the plates must be properly secured to planks. The planks need to be continuous under at least 2 frames. When this isn't possible, you need to install 2-foot-long planks centered under each screw jack. It is forbidden to put bricks, concrete blocks, or other materials under the jacks, and the frames can't be placed directly on the planks. You must always level the first section by using the screw jacks. The ground can shift, especially during a thaw or rain, so every day you need to check if the scaffold is level and make any necessary adjustments. Mistake 2. Working on poorly installed scaffolding. All of the assembly components must be present and in good condition to ensure the stability of the scaffolding. All frames must be connected with cross-bracing. At all times, the uprights must be joined with locking or coupling devices. Every morning, inspect the scaffolding to make sure that no components are deformed, broken, rusted, or missing. If they are, you need to replace or add them. Mistake 3. Erecting or dismantling scaffolding without a fall protection system. Since you can't install guardrails when setting up or taking apart scaffolding, this is when you are the most at risk of falling. But a well-planned installation will limit this risk. When working above 3 meters, you have to use a compliant fall protection system, meaning a safety harness secured to a compliant anchor point, like a vertical lifeline or a tie-off bar. Mistake 4. Working without securing the scaffold with anchors. All scaffolds, even if they are only 3 frames high, can overturn if they aren't properly anchored. If the height of the scaffold is more than 3 times its base width, every third upright must be anchored to the building on the vertical. You can also use stabilizers to widen the base. On the horizontal, every second upright has to be anchored. Mistake 5. Working on a non-compliant platform. Non-compliant platforms are not stable and safe. Always use number 1 grade SPF planking or better. Make sure they aren't warped, deformed, or have any knots. Don't use planks that have been damaged by saw marks, cracks, or rot. When using metal platforms, they must also comply with safety standards and be in good condition. The platform must be at least 2 planks wide. And the planks need to be the right length. They need to extend at least 6 inches beyond the frame, but no more than 12 inches. So if the scaffold is 10 feet wide, you need to use 12-foot planks. They need to be installed in such a way as to prevent toppling or sliding with the help of cleats or 9-gauge wire. When 2 planks overlap, they must both be supported by the metal frame and fixed. The platform must be kept clean, free of slippery substances such as mud, snow, or ice, and free of obstructions to avoid tripping. Mistake 6. Overloading a platform. Planks can't always support the weight of the loads that are imposed on them, even if they comply with safety standards. Sometimes the planks need to be doubled or tripled in order to properly support the weight of workers, their tools, and materials, while still respecting the maximum load capacity of the scaffold. Mistake 7. Working with an inadequate guardrail. A non-compliant guardrail can lead to workers and objects falling from a height. When working about 3 meters, you need to install guardrails on all open sides. The side facing the building can remain open if the platform is 14 inches or less from the wall. If it isn't, you need to extend the platform and install guardrails on both ends. At the back, you have to install 2 rails and a toe board. You also have to close the openings in the frames. Because of the distance between fulcrum points, you need to use at a minimum 2x6s for the rails and 2x4s for the toe boards. And they need to be fixed on both ends. Mistake 8. Using the scaffold's rungs like a ladder. Since the planks need to extend at least 6 inches beyond the frame, they keep us from accessing the platform safely. Instead, you need to securely fasten a portable ladder to the put log above the platform. Depending on the size of the scaffold and the type of work being done, there are other means of access that can be used, like stairs or vertical ladders. It can also be a means of access through the building. Mistake 9. Installing a safety tarp or net without properly anchoring the scaffold. Wind can overturn a scaffold that isn't adequately anchored to the building. The necessary number and type of anchors must comply with the manufacturer's recommendations. You also need to refer to the CNESST's guidelines in order to confirm how many anchors are necessary depending on the region that you work in. And when you have an engineer's plan, you have to follow it. Mistake 10. Not taking your work environment into account. Poor planning can mean accidents for you and for others. Always plan your installations so that you can work at a safe distance from power lines. Also make sure that equipment and machinery will always be more than 3 meters away. Never work under another person or under a load. Plan a covered passage for pedestrians and workers that use the building's entrance, and install it in accordance with an engineer's plan. There are many options and accessories out there when the time to buy comes. Ask yourself if you have what best suits your needs and talk to your supplier for advice. Turn to the APCHQ's prevention programs and action sheets for more details and all the safety instructions you need to know.